Okay, so now for today's session, I am going to take control statements and looping in Java, which is prepared by me and Cynthia Verma and reviewed by our senior Rahul Pandya, who is a software tester and developer both. Uh, Agenda for today's session is I'll explain you this conditional statements like if statement, if else statement, if else ladder, switch statement, and examples of each topic. So first I'll start with theory. So why we use control statements? We use control statements for controlling the flow of our program. There are different kinds of control statements. First is selection statement where we use if else if, nested if, and switch statement. For iterating and looping statement, we have for loop, while loop, do while loop, for each loop, which will be covered in next session, and jump statements like break, continue, and return. So we will be starting with if block. Why we use if block? If block condition syntax means if we have some condition and it is true, then only it will be executed. If it is false, we don't have anything that we need to execute. I'll show you one example for that. I'll just create one new program. From source folder, we are creating new Java class, and I'm using IntelliJ uh, as IDE to develop Java programs. So I'll add one example if statement example 1. This is my Java class which I am adding, and this that pop-up which showed me was for Git session because I am using GitHub as I have added my entire project in Git. So I will also show you how to do commit in Git. So firstly, in order to start any Java program, we have main method, that is public static void main. I just need to write psvm and it will take entire main method. Now inside this, I'll create one variable integer a is equals to 10. Now I want to check whether value of a is greater than 10 or not. So what I will do, if a is greater than or equal greater than 10, then print, not print, SOUT, system.out.println, print a is greater than 10. As a is not greater than 10, it won't print me anything in output. Let's check it by running it. See, I didn't got anything in output. If we want anything, that if a is not greater than 10, then we also need else statement. If our condition is true, then it will go in if statement, else it will go in else statement. So else SOUT a is not greater than 10, and I'll execute this. So we got that a is not greater than 10. So this was for if statement also, and I also covered else statement. Means if anything is true, our condition is true, then it will go in if statement. Else, if our condition is false, then it will go in else statement. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, just a minute. I'll share my screen again. Now I'll also show you a few examples for this if and else statement. Like if we want to check whether the number is positive or not, then how can we check? So I'll create one more uh, Java class in that to check whether number is positive or not. And this a few examples which we will be doing in this session are generally asked during interview questions. Like when we go for Java interview, they ask like, can you please perform this program? Like they ask even odd, then to check whether number is positive or negative, or even they do also ask leap year, whether the year is leap year or not. So I'll show all the examples. So first we are creating positive negative class. Means in this we are going to check whether our class is positive, our the number which entered it is positive or negative. I'll click on add, so this will add this class in my git folder. So to check whether number is positive or negative, we can either take number from user at runtime, or we can simply declare that number during variable initialization. But this time I am going to add that number at runtime. So firstly, I will do public static void main, and for taking number from user at runtime, we use scanner class. Scanner class is used to take input from user during execution. So I'll create one scanner class. Scanner class is already available in java.util package. So when I added scanner, it has automatically imported that package. I'll create one example object of it. Scanner is equals to new scanner, and we will pass system.in as its parameter to take input from the system. Now we want to enter one number, so I will add one print statement like enter a number to check whether that number is positive or not. So we want this number at runtime, and user should enter that number. So what we will do, I'll just create one variable integer number is equals to, I created this number because I want to store that number in some variable. So I am storing that in integer variable. Scanner dot, from here, as we are taking integer, we are going to use data type as next int. Next int means it will take the input from user as integer format. Now I will check condition that if number is greater than 0, then we will print that number is positive, else number is negative. I'll execute this so you will get to know the output. Which number should I add? Can anyone say? Hello?
5 or 10, any number.
I'll add 10. So a number is positive. If I'll add -20, then it will say that number is negative. This is one example. Then we will also see example of leap year. So I am just commenting this code, and I'll continue in this only. Like I guess everyone knows what is leap year. Leap year means which comes once in 4 years, and the formula to check leap year is it is divisible by 4 and it is not equal to 0. So I'll just simply take that example. Integer here is equals to 2020. 2021. I am automatically assigning. I instead of taking that number from user, I am just assigning the value of number. Now I will check whether year is divisible by 4 equal to 0. If it is divisible by 4 and is equal to 0, and if year divisible by 100 and is not equal to 0, or we can say that if that year is divisible by 400 and is equal to 0, then we can say that num- year is I'll just call this year. So they will say that 2021 is leap year. Or if it is not leap year, then we will print that year is not leap year. So 2020 is not a leap year, so it will print that it is not leap year. I am executing this. See, so they told that 2021 is not a leap year. If I change it from 2021 to 2020, then it will say that 2020 is a leap year. If I am changing from 2020 to 330,043 something random year, then it will say that it is not a leap year. So this is the logic of leap year. And there is one more program whether we want to check even and odd. So its logic is also simple. For this, we are going to just take that number from a user during execution time. So I'm just commenting this portion, the object which I made for scanner class, and then I'll take that SOUT, enter a number to check whether number is even or odd. So I want to check. So I'll again create one variable number and pass the value of integer. Now I'll add logic. If number is divisible by 2 and equal to 0, then this is the logic to check even number, that if number divisible by 0, if number is divisible by 0, then the number is even, else it is odd. So it will simply print me even, and in else part it will print me odd. I'll execute this, and I am adding one number 3. So it told that it is odd. If I execute one even number like 20, then it is saying that I am getting even number. So this logic is proper. So these are the few examples to check whether the number is even or odd. Then we have one more control statement, that is if else statement. Next, if else and else if statement. It is also called if else ladder statement. So I'll just explain its concept in Java program only. Else if ladder. So how it actually works. For example, I'll firstly show you the syntax of else if ladder. So if we have multiple if statements together and we need to choose only one output from that if statement, then we use multiple else if ladder. Syntax is like this. I'll show you over here. public static void main. If my condition is true, then it will print, it will execute this code. But if it is not true, then it will go in else if statement and check for my another condition. If that condition is true, then it will execute this block of statement. Else it will go in another else if statement and it will check this condition. If it is true, then it will execute this block of statement. Else, if none of the condition is true, then it will go in else part and print the default statement which we are going to add whether our condition does not meet our requirements. Then I'll show you one example to better understand this program. Uh, Let's take one example to calculate grade sheet. Means if we want to calculate result score, like if my score is 70%, then I will get C grade or D grade, such type of example. So I'm declaring one variable integer score and I'm statically entering that score. Suppose I got 80% and I am also taking one more variable that is character grade. So for 80%, how which grade I am getting, I am going to add that logic. So if my score is greater than or equal to 90, then I should get grade as A grade. Else if my score is greater than or equal to 80, then my grade should be B. Similarly, if I got score greater than or equal to 70, then my grade should be C. Else if I got grade greater than or equal to 60, then I should get grade as D. Or simply I would, if I don't got greater than 60, then simply I will add else statement and pass grade equals to F. Means fail. And then I'll add one system.out.print statement, println statement to print the grade. So I'll simply add your grade is, and I'll print this grade. Let's execute. So I got my grade is B. If I am changing from 80 to 55, then I'll get F. Why? Because it is not greater than or equal to 60. That your grade is F. If I am changing from 55 to 64, then my grade will be D. Yeah, so this is how we can calculate the result score using nested if else, or we can say if else ladder statement. Till now, I guess it is clear to everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So now we will do one more. Now one more statement is left, that is switch statement. So using, I'll also explain you that switch example. For that, we will be taking one example of calculator. So suppose I want to create one calculator. Then how will I create that? So firstly, I am defining few variables which I am going to define as static variables in my class. So I am defining public static uh, integer variable, or I will take number double variable as we are using calculator. We want to create calculator. For creating calculator, we should have few variables, like we should have numbers. So we want two numbers right now. So I'll create two variables, public static double number one and double number two. And I also want to store that uh, operation. So I'll also create one variable, character variable operation, and one more variable to store my result. So double result. So I guess everyone is aware about calculator's logic. Like suppose we want to perform addition of two numbers, multiplication of two numbers, subtraction, division, and modulo of two numbers. So for that we are creating one calculator program using switch statement. So after I have created a few variables, I create one main method, and inside this main method I'm going to create one scanner class. I'll take this I'm using this scanner class because I want to take the numbers values of number one and number two for my calculator from user during runtime. So I'm creating one scanner class. Now as I'm using double variable, so for here first I'll enter number one, and to enter this number one I'll take this number one is equals to scanner dot. Here I will choose next double because our data type is double. Similarly, enter number two, and number two is equals to scanner dot next double. Then after I'll also create now we will use switch statement. So before using switch statement, I'll just let you know why we use switch statement. Switch statement is similar to this if else statement, else if statement, or if else statement, whatever we say. But using else if statements, it is being more complicated, and in order to avoid those complications, we use switch statement. And syntax for switch statement is switch our condition. Then over here we are using few cases. If case one, then we have some code of execution for that case one, and break statement. If and for, then we have multiple case over here. We can use case two, code of statement, execution, and break two. We can use up till n statements like case n, code of execution, and break statement. And at last we will have one default statement. If none of this condition matches in this case, then it will execute default statement. And break. So one more thing for switch statement is that from switch we can from all the available cases we can execute only one case at a time. And I guess switch is more beneficial than if multiple else if statements. So let's start with our calculator program. So over here, after getting input from the users, we want to also ask user that which operator you want to enter, which operation you want to perform. So for that I am adding one print statement like select the operation which you want to perform from following given list of operations. So I am adding few operations like with selection. Selection is used for a new line in Java. So those operations will be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo. I am taking five operations. Now, in order to get this operators from user, we will add one more scanner class. That is operation is equals to scanner dot next dot character at index 0. So it will start our character taking the character from first index and it will compare to other index. I'll explain you how it will work. So now I'm creating one switch statement and I'll pass this operation inside the switch statement. And now we will create cases for calculator. So first case will be addition, and I'll print a plus, that is num1 plus num2, that is addition of two numbers, and I'll do break statement. Similarly, I'll add the cases for others. I'm just copy pasting. So in order to save some time, over here I'll change from addition to subtraction, minus. From for here I'll change multiplication, division, and modulo. Now, at the end of the statement, I'll also add one default statement. If user enters any other sign other than these cases, then we will say invalid operator entered and break the statement. And at the end, we will print this entire operation that I have added number one. So num1 plus some space. Then we want the operation sign. So we will add operation plus some space with num2 plus equals to, and over here instead of storing this into a print statement, I will store this in result statement. So we can print our result at the end of our program. So I'll add num1 plus num2, because print statement won't work properly the way we want our execution answer. So and over here we will print our result also. So I'll execute this code. I'm entering number 1 is 10 and number 2 is 20, and I want to perform addition. So it will give me addition of 10 and 20, that is 30. Suppose I want to perform subtraction. So I am adding number 1 as 20 and number 2 is 10. So I will get answer as operator as subtraction. So I got answer as 10. Suppose I want to perform multiplication of two numbers, then I'll add number as 2, 3 and sign as multiplication. So it will perform multiplication of two number, that is 2 into 3 is 6. Similarly, if I want to perform division, that is I want to divide 40 by 20, and I'll take sign as division. So I got 40 divided by 20 is equals to 2, and here I am getting value as 2.0 or 20.0 or 40.0 because I am using double as my data type. If I am using integer, I would simply get 40 divided by 20 is equals to 2 instead of getting one extra additional 0 at the end of the code. And suppose I want to perform modulo operation, that is 20, 10, and I want to find remainder. So I got 0 as remainder. So this is how a switch statement works and control statement works. Like I have shown you example for if statement, if else statement. Like logic of if statement is if condition is true, then and then only we will get the output. If it is false, we won't get any output. But if we move further, like if our condition is true, if condition, then this code of block is executed, and if our condition is false, then it will go in else part and execute the program. Similarly, for else if ladder, if our first condition is true, then this block of code will be executed. Else if it will go and check whether my condition is true in this else if. If it is true, then it will execute this block. Else it will again go to next else if and check whether my condition is true or not, and it will check all the conditions. But it is sometimes it becomes too tedious and complicated. So to avoid that, we are using switch statement. So Java switch statement is used to execute one statement from given multiple statements. That is, we are given multiple statements, like we got multiple cases over here, and from that multiple cases we want to execute one statement. So for that, we are using switch statement, and switch works with primitive data types like byte, short, character, integer. It also works with enumerated data types of Java, string classes, and few special classes that wrap certain primitive data type like character, byte, short, and integer. They also work with these classes of Java, and its syntax is similarly, if our condition is true, then whichever condition we entered, it will check in whichever case we got our condition, it will go simply go and execute that block of code. So is this clear about conditional statements and the examples which I showed?